Good Friday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Friday. We have the truth of the day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's entertainment spotlight, giving part of my conversation with Dr. Jennifer Caudle, discussing this year's cold and flu season and what you all could do for sore throats. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In national news, U.S. mandates vaccines or tests for big companies by January the 4th. Tens of millions of Americans who work at companies with 100 or more employees will need to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by January the 4th or get tested for the virus weekly under government rules issued yesterday. The new requirements are the Biden administration's boldest move yet to persuade reluctant Americans to finally get a vaccine that has been widely available for months or face financial consequences. If successful, administration officials believe it will go a long way toward ending a pandemic that has now killed over 750,000 Americans. First previewed by President Joe Biden in September, the requirements will apply to about 84 million workers at medium and large businesses, although it is not clear how many of those employees are unvaccinated. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration regulations will force the companies to require that unvaccinated workers test negative for COVID-19 at least once a week and wear a mask while in the workplace. OSHA left open the possibility of expanding the requirement to smaller businesses. It asked for public comment on whether employers with fewer than 100 employees could handle vaccination or testing programs. Tougher rules will apply to another 17 million people working in nursing homes, hospitals, and other facilities that receive money from Medicare and Medicaid. Those workers will not have an option for testing. They will need to be vaccinated. Workers will be able to ask for exemptions on medical or religious grounds. The requirements will not apply to people who work at home or outdoors. Biden framed the issue as a simple choice between getting more people vaccinated or prolonging the pandemic. While I would have much preferred the requirements not become necessary, too many people remain unvaccinated for us to get out of this pandemic for good, he said in a statement on Thursday. Biden said his encouragement for businesses to impose mandates and his own previous requirements for the military and federal contractors have helped reduce the number of unvaccinated Americans over 12 from 100 million in late July to about 60 million now. Those measures, he said, have not led to mass firings or worker shortages, adding that vaccines have been required before to fight other diseases. In more national news, Michigan's city on edge as lead water crisis persists. Shortly after sunrise on a recent Saturday in Benton Harbor, Michigan, residents began lining up for free bottled water so they could drink and cook without fear of the high levels of lead in the city's tap water. Free water distribution sites are a fixture of life in the majority black city in the southwestern corner of Michigan, where almost half of the nearly 10,000 residents live below the poverty line. For 3 years, tests of its public water system have revealed elevated levels of lead. Waiting for free bottled water is time-consuming, and some residents wonder why, in a state that recently dealt with the Flint water crisis, the problem wasn't fixed sooner. In more national news, witness says shooting victim lunged for his Rittenhouse rifle. The first man shot by Kyle Rittenhouse on the streets of Kenosha during a night of turbulent protests lunged for Rittenhouse's rifle in an attempt to take it away just before the 17-year-old fired, a reporter who took video testified Thursday. Richie McGinnis, who was recording on his cell phone for the conservative website The Daily Caller, took the stand at Rittenhouse's murder trial and described watching as Joseph Rosenbaum chased down Rittenhouse in one of the most crucial and disputed moments of the night. It is one of the few moments not clearly captured on video. I think it was very clear to me that he was reaching specifically for the weapon, said McGinnis, who had been called to the stand by the prosecution. In an attempt to undo some of the damage done by his own witness, prosecutor Thomas Binger said McGinnis' testimony about what Rosenbaum was intending to do was complete guesswork. Isn't it? He asked. Well, McGinnis replied, he said F you, and then he reached for the weapon. But McGinnis also appeared to boost the prosecution's case when he said he had a sense that something bad could happen that night because of all the guns in the area. In business news, stocks wound up a mixed bag on Wall Street Thursday, but big gains in several technology giants have pushed the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq indexes to more record highs. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq rose. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped. The S&P 500 rose 19 points, or 0.4%, to 4,680. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 33 points, or 0.1%, to 36,124. And finally, in entertainment news, World Series TV viewers up 20% from 2020, but down from 2019. World Series television ratings rebounded following the record low set last year. The Atlanta Braves' 6-game victory over the Houston Astros averaged 11,750,000 viewers on Fox, the network said on Wednesday. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Take time before making big decisions. Any kind of impulsive feeling can lead you toward making a rash decision. Impatience is a culprit that can cause you to have a high cost of being reckless with your money, time, or relationships. When you have a life-changing decision in front of you, take some time to be quiet with God. Ask a trusted friend, mentor, or family member for advice. Remember to ask a person who does not have an ulterior motive in the outcome of your decision. Time to consider all your options. As you take your time to look at your options objectively, you feel confident as you make your final choice. This gift of time allows your choice to be calm and self-centered. The patience you exercise helps you make a decision, allowing you a better future. Today, take some time before making any big decision while remembering the final choice is always your own. As you go about, enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with Dr. Jennifer Caudle in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Jennifer Caudle rejoined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, recently to talk about a recent survey conducted by Mucinex of over 2,000 adults talking about how they cope with sore throats as we're going into the cold and flu season. Here's a bit of our conversation.
I mentioned the survey conducted by Mucinex, really covering 2,000 adults in the United States, talking about their experience with a sore throat. What were some of the things that you found through that survey?
Yeah, this was, I think, a really interesting survey, especially interesting to me as a family doctor, that's for sure. We know that cold and flu season is upon us, and with colds and flus, we get things like coughs and body aches and fever, and they really can impact our daily life. This survey actually found that sore throat pain is one of the top 3 most debilitating symptoms alongside fever and migraine. So it's helpful for me to really understand that sore throat is something that people really complain about, understandably. However, despite this, 55% of people are more likely to power through that sore throat, meaning they're still going to try to get tasks done, try to accomplish things. So they're going to try to power through that sore throat, which also tells me, okay, we've got to try to help relieve people's symptoms and make sure that we're keeping them healthy and their symptoms at bay if possible.
Well, I definitely can relate to that, Dr. Caudle. I know for myself, when I'm experiencing it, especially doing this show, we try to use what we can. A lot of times that does include over-the-counter medication. How have you found that over-the-counter remedies have helped to relieve those sore throat symptoms?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because, and I can only imagine with the job that you have, and you talk all the time, and of course for you and for anyone who certainly uses their voice a lot, sore throat can be definitely debilitating. But there are a lot of great over-the-counter options, which is what's really great about this. Mucinex, for example, happens to be the #1 doctor-trusted over-the-counter cough and cold brand, but they recently introduced a line called Mucinex Institute, which is a new product line. It's got lozenges and sprays in it, and they numb and soothe and relieve sore throat pain, which is awesome.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on Monday with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.